If Lamar Jackson is not on that practice field in May, people are going to remember. And that is exactly why this offseason suddenly feels bigger than it did a week ago. The Baltimore Ravens are entering a new chapter, a new offensive coordinator, a young coaching staff, real pressure to deliver in 2026. And before a single regular season snap is played, the spotlight has already shifted to voluntary OTAs. Declan Doyle did not dance around the subject. He made it clear that he wants every player in attendance, including his franchise quarterback. Coaches cannot force players to show up for voluntary sessions. That is written into the structure of the league. But Doyle framed attendance as something more than optional. He framed it as necessary for a team that says it wants a Super Bowl. That message did not go unnoticed. Former NFL defensive end and ESPN analyst Marcus Spears quickly weighed in, and his warning was direct. If Lamar Jackson is not there with a brand new offensive coordinator, the conversation will begin the moment the Ravens struggle. Spears put it plainly. If the offense hits turbulence early in the season, analysts will point back to May. They will ask why the quarterback was not present when the new system was being installed. That is not speculation. That is how this league works. Quarterbacks are judged differently. Fair or not, they carry the weight of preparation, leadership, and chemistry. When a new coordinator arrives, every rep matters. Spears also praised Doyle's stance. He called it a big move, establishing respect, establishing authority, not in an aggressive way, but in a clear one. Doyle is saying, I want my quarterback here. I want the player who has done big things in this league to be central to how we build this offense. And make no mistake, this will be one of the most scrutinized offensive coordinator jobs in football. Because of who Lamar Jackson is. Jackson is not an average quarterback adjusting to a new voice. He is one of the most dynamic players the league has ever seen. At 29 years old, he already owns a career passer rating of 102.2, tied for the best in NFL history. He has rushed for 6,522 yards, more than any quarterback ever. His 2025 season was strong as well. In 13 games, he posted a 103.8 passer rating with 2,549 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. There is no quarterback crisis in Baltimore, but there is evolution. After the organization moved on from John Harbaugh following playoff shortcomings, the franchise handed the reins to a young staff under Jessie Minter. The expectations did not drop. If anything, they intensified. Doyle has wasted no time shaping his vision for the offense, and his early comments reveal exactly what he wants refined. He believes there is a higher ceiling in Jackson's game, particularly when it comes to sharpening the first read before going off script. That detail matters. Lamar Jackson's ability to improvise is legendary. He can erase mistakes. He can escape pressure and turn broken plays into touchdowns. Doyle even acknowledged that reality. He described the quarterback as the eraser of game planning errors. When coverage rotates unexpectedly, when a call does not match what the defense shows, sometimes the quarterback has to put the cape on and be Superman. Jackson can do that. But Doyle also hinted at something deeper. Consistency within structure. Eyes, footwork, executing the first read before the play becomes backyard football. That is not criticism. That is refinement. And refinement requires reps. Voluntary OTAs may not be mandatory, but they are foundational. They are where timing develops, where terminology becomes second nature, where trust forms between quarterback and coordinator. If Jackson attends, the narrative becomes partnership, commitment, shared urgency. If he does not, the narrative writes itself the moment adversity hits. That is the reality Marcus Spears was pointing toward. It is not about forcing attendance. It is about perception and preparation. Now layer in the contract situation, and the stakes rise further. Lamar Jackson just completed the third season of the 5-year, $260 million deal he signed on May 4, 2023. At the time, $185 million carried guarantees, including $135 million locked in at signing. A $22.5 million guaranteed option hit on March 17. His $20.25 million base salary for 2025 and a $750,000 roster bonus also carry guarantees. Because he remained on the roster past the 5th day of the 2025 league year, $29 million of his 2026 pay is now fully locked in. There are additional $750,000 roster bonuses waiting on the 5th day of the 2026 and 2027 league years. That is significant financial commitment. Jackson also holds a no-franchise tag clause and a no-trade clause. Any major decision requires his approval. This is not a typical quarterback contract structure where the team can easily pivot. At the same time, the cap numbers in future seasons create challenges. Building around a franchise quarterback requires flexibility, restructures, extensions, creativity. The Ravens have an example to study. The Kansas City Chiefs reshaped Patrick Mahomes' deal in a way that dramatically lowered his 2026 cap hit. They reduced it from $78.2 million to roughly $34.65 million by converting $54.45 million of base salary into a signing bonus. That move freed over $43.56 million in cap space. The contracts are not identical. Mahomes is signed through 2031. Jackson has 2 seasons remaining. But the principle is clear. Contenders adjust. They do not allow financial structure to limit competitive windows. For Baltimore, this may ultimately come down to extension discussions. Eric DeCosta has the ability to lower Jackson's 2026 cap charge by adding years and spreading money across new seasons. That would signal long-term commitment. It would also align the quarterback and coordinator under a shared future rather than a ticking clock. This is where the offseason becomes layered. Attendance at OTAs is about culture and preparation. Contract discussions are about commitment and vision, and both are unfolding simultaneously. If Jackson shows up in May, works closely with Doyle, and the organization moves toward an extension, the message becomes unified. Stability, direction, shared purpose. If there is distance on either front, questions will multiply. None of this erases what Lamar Jackson has accomplished. His production speaks for itself. His impact on the Ravens' identity is undeniable. But the NFL rarely allows comfort. Each season resets expectations. Each coaching change reopens evaluation. For Doyle, this is about setting tone early. He is not diminishing Jackson's improvisational brilliance. He is asking for consistency within the framework. For Spears, the warning is simple. Control the narrative before it controls you. The first time the Ravens stall offensively in September, no one will cite random variance. They will revisit May. They will revisit attendance. They will revisit chemistry. That is why this decision carries more weight than it appears. There is also the human element. A 29-year-old quarterback with elite numbers, fresh off another productive season, may feel he has already proven his commitment. From his perspective, voluntary truly means voluntary. From the organization's perspective, new leadership demands visible alignment. Neither side is irrational. But in professional football, optics and outcomes are tightly connected. Consider the internal message it sends to younger players. When a new coordinator asks for full participation and the franchise quarterback is front and center, it reinforces accountability. When the most important player sets the tone, the rest of the roster follows. Doyle understands that. Spears understands that. Now the question becomes whether Jackson sees it the same way. And beyond attendance, there is the football conversation itself. Can Doyle unlock another level of efficiency in Jackson's game? Sharpening the first read sounds subtle, but it can dramatically impact rhythm. If early progressions become more consistent, the offense stays ahead of schedule. Third downs shorten. Red zone trips increase. Jackson's ability to create outside structure will always be there. The goal is not to remove it. The goal is to make it the exception, not the necessity. That is the delicate balance. The Ravens are not trying to reinvent their quarterback. They are trying to refine him, and refinement takes time on the field together. As Baltimore navigates this offseason, every move will be interpreted through the lens of urgency. Moving on from John Harbaugh signaled impatience with playoff outcomes. Installing a young staff signaled belief in fresh vision. Now the franchise must align its quarterback, its coordinator, and its financial roadmap. That alignment begins with something as simple and as symbolic as showing up in May. The broader question hovers over everything. Is this partnership between Lamar Jackson and Declan Doyle seamless from the start? Or does it require early turbulence before it clicks? And connected to that is the contract conversation. Will the Ravens act boldly and reshape Jackson's deal to maintain flexibility? Or will they wait and risk tighter cap constraints? Those decisions are not isolated. They are intertwined. Preparation, performance, payment. That is the cycle. Jackson has already proven he can perform. The numbers confirm it. The history books confirm it. Now the focus shifts to preparation within a new structure and payment within a shifting cap landscape. For Ravens fans, this is not about doubting their quarterback. It is about maximizing a championship window. So as voluntary OTAs approach, the conversation is not dramatic. It is strategic. Presence can build momentum. Absence can invite scrutiny. And in a league where narratives move quickly, small off-season choices often echo loudly in the fall. The Ravens believe they have their quarterback. They believe there is still a higher ceiling. They believe structural refinement can coexist with improvisational brilliance. But belief must translate to action. And that is why this moment, quiet as it seems, carries weight. Because in the NFL, May has a way of resurfacing in January.